Most new hospitals today are built with private finance initiative money. Payments required even if a hospital closes. They spent over £11 billion. With that, they're going to have to pay back over £79 billion. Private companies are contracted to manage and complete projects, and these can last for the investor for up to 30 years. It is like going to a loan shark, and a good example of how money is being drained out of the system and redirected away from services to profiteers. PFIs are an expensive method of borrowing to deliver attractive, risk-free returns for investors, and the public still don't own the hospitals. These facilities built with this money are unreasonably protected, and their debt provides a way of justifying closures.
Most of the hospitals whose A&E services are currently under threat have neighbours who have large PFI debts.
Do you think there's anything unethical about the PFI situation?
Absolutely. I think I don't think it's at all unreasonable to describe it as scandalous and monstrous, and I think if the full extent of it was actually made public, it would be a national scandal.
Profits can rise to as much as an 1100% rate of return.
For every PFI hospital that's open and running, you could have had 3 hospitals open and running for the same price, and that includes the staffing as well. The NHS was founded on the basis of need, so you're raising money according to need and not ability to pay, and then you're distributing the funds through the system and the services according to need and not ability to pay. So when you bring in a private element with shareholders or whatever, or like the PFI, then you're actually moving away from the intentions that Parliament intended. Parliament votes for that money on that basis.
It's the shutting down of cheaper to run publicly owned hospitals in favour of those with PFI debts.
PFI is the best example where the banks are rebuilding their balance sheets on the back of PFI hospitals and schools. So money that's intended for services is going straight into the balance sheet of the banks and the investors. That's quite extraordinary, which means their children have appalling schools. They may have modern glitzy schools, but they're cramped, they don't have enough staff, and they don't have enough books, and the same is happening in hospitals.
They wanted a guaranteed flow of public money underpinned by government. That is what the PFI was about.
And can you do anything about the PFIs, or are they kind of fait accompli?
Well, they're all signed, but nothing is ever irreversible depending on the political situation, as we know. So the first thing that a government that wanted to do would be to reopen all the contracts, and of course they're all commercial in confidence. And it's particularly pertinent at the moment because these contracts are subject to indexation, so they're rising with inflation at a time when budgets are falling for the NHS, and they're also part of this whole LIBOR interest rate scandal, interestingly enough, because you've got interest rate swaps and indexation swaps going on.
And of course we're already seeing quite a lot of extra fatalities due to people having to be driven around by ambulance where their local A&E has been shut. So previously their lives would have been saved, and now they're dying in ambulances.
During the Blair and Brown New Labour governments, 101 out of 135 hospitals were built using PFI loans.
I think there was about 15 people involved in the elected caesarean to get them out, and the level of care was just incredible, and you just can't imagine how this area will cope with anything like this, triplets, if they don't have the maternity.